Hi everyone, Amber here from Majestic. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're sewing up month 4 of Cotton Cut's Puzzle Mystery Quilt Flyway. Now believe we're on month 4. Wild West just finished up at the end of April. So before I show you month 4 blocks, I want to let you know that the colorways are all posted on the Cotton Cut's website. The theme is Under the Sea and it's absolutely gorgeous, the colorway options. I cannot wait to find out which one I will be sewing. So I just wanted to, I'll put a link in the description. As soon as I get my referral code, I'll let you know in case you would like to use that to get a bonus gift. Definitely let me know in the comments if you're going to sign up and which colorways that you are thinking about. And again, I will put the date of the signups in the description as well as the link. So for month 4 of our Flyway, if you are doing the large size, you have 4 of section 4A, and you're going to have 1 of section 4B. So we have a lot of economy blocks. I'm having so much fun. I cannot wait to see what it looks like for the colorways that have larger prints for these centers. So I am really enjoying the batiks, really enjoying this process. Let me know in the comments if you are as well. And as always, if you are not already subscribed, I would love if you subscribe or give me a thumbs up. It helps my channel grow and I appreciate it so much. So enjoy the tutorial. My clue 4, I have my color card and I have all my pieces laid out. And I have my iron pressing mat and I'm using an 80-12 needle, universal needle, and some regular Gutermann thread. And so I always keep my color card because every time I always mix up colors. This time it seems to be fabric C and D. I'm not quite sure why. And so we have 2 different sections. We have 4 of 4A and 1 of 4B. So for the video, I'll be making 1 of each. So for all these numbers here, I'm dividing it by 4. So that way I'm only making 1 block. If you are doing all 4 at once, you want to make sure that you're paying attention to these numbers. That's going to tell you how many of each section. So for the first one, we're going to start. We need 1 of our large A squares. And I'm just, again, you'll see me doing this whole time, trying to find their batiks. And it's really tricky to tell for me which side's the right side, which side's the wrong side. And then we need a small D triangle to the top right, which is the yellow, and a small B triangle to the bottom left, which is this green with the lighter green print on it. And some of these are a little easier to tell. I could see the back of the fabric better. And I'm right-handed, so I'm just going to start with the top. You could start either side. And I'm using a full 1/4 inch seam allowance. I would say that's like my number 1 thing, is just make sure that you are consistent. If you are consistent, your pieces will all line up. Okay, so we're going to press this one open. And again, I'm just pressing down with my iron. I'm not rubbing it back and forth so that way I don't warp anything. I'm also not using water, so I'm not using steam or best press or anything like that. Okay, so now I'm going to put this bottom one right side together. And I like laying them out and then flipping them right sides together. It just helps me stay focused, I guess, and make sure that I am putting the pieces on correctly. I definitely do still make errors, but way less if I do that method. And I'm just I use embroidery scissors to trim down. I know some people like snips. It's all personal preference. But what I do try to do is make sure that I cut everything and clean things up as best as I can as I go along, so I don't have all that extra work at the end. Okay, so now, so you should have 4 of these. So now I am adding a B triangle to the bottom right and a C to the top left. And I'm curious if there's an error because this says 4 and then this says 8. So let me just check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it shows 8. No, all right. I thought that we were going to do it down here. So I'm not sure why that says 8. I'm going to do 4 and see if that works out. Because what I'm counting is these middle things here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, I definitely think this is an error. I think that should be 4. If it's not, and later on I have to change it, I'll definitely let you know. And so now I need another B fabric piece and a C triangle. C is that bright orange. I'm really loving these fabrics. So happy with it. I also love the colors. Okay, so again, making sure I put it right sides together. And so here, the little triangles overlay a little bit, but once you have the 2 that we've already sewed on, you'll see that they match up on the end like almost perfectly. Or if your seam allowance is accurate, it should be perfect. Good. And I really enjoy making these economy blocks. I love that the center, especially if you had a print that you really wanted to show off, but they are a little bit more time consuming because you have to do each side. So you can't, batch sew them. Or I guess in this case you could do 4, but you still have to do each corner on its own. And then this last side, right sides together. And one thing that I noticed about batiks is that because they're a little bit more sturdy with the wax, they really line up very nicely for me. I don't have such walky edges. All right, so that finishes our step 2. And I believe you should have 4, so I'm going to set them to the side and then work on these next half square triangles. All right, so I have figured out what is going on. It does say for step 2, make 4. This step 8 or times 8 is supposed to be where this step 3 is. So for step 3, we are making 8 of these half square triangles. They are fabric D to the top left, which is our yellow. So again, I'm going to lay out all of these first. I'm trying to look at them in the light to see. I honestly don't think it's like a huge deal, but I'm just so picky about it. And then fabric C, which is our orange. This one's a little bit easier to tell because I feel like it's more vibrant on one side. So even though we need 8, I'm going to lay out 4 just for spacing wise and then lay out my other 4. And this is what I was talking about where you can kind of get a lot done at once because I'm just going to fold these right side together and chain stitch all 8 of them. And try to be a little mindful because the corners of these sometimes want to get sucked down into the feed dogs. So you can clip or pin them. I'm just holding them. And what is nice about this is that first half square triangle acts like a leader piece. And you also save on thread. I've started back stitching at the beginning and end when I'm piecing, except I don't really do it so much when it ends on the corner because I feel like that is when it gets sucked down into the feed dogs very, very easily, for me anyways. This machine has a lot of pressure on the presser foot. It's an older machine, and I don't know if there's a way, or at least there's not. I'll have to check, but I don't believe there's a way to adjust that. So I just accommodate it. And I'd rather not lessen it, especially with bags that pressure really helps me be able to sew through pretty much anything that I put on the underneath the presser foot. Okay, and because I need 8 of these, I'm just laying out my next 4. And so you can see what I'm doing is I'm folding these in half, and that way I can see the back and the front at the same time to try to figure out which one is right side, which one's wrong side. So I have my 4 underneath my presser foot, and I did not take them out or trim them yet, and I'm going to continue with my next 4. And for this, sometimes I have the orange up, sometimes I have the yellow. When I'm sewing, that doesn't really matter. It only matters when you are pressing them, which side you're pressing them to. Okay, so once I clip them, it's showing the arrow pointing up. So we are pressing them towards our D fabric, which is the yellow. So now you can see I have all these clipped together. So I'm just going through and snipping them apart. And except this one has a little bit of more thread, so I'll have to cut that off. But a lot of them, you can see that I can just snip right down the center, and I really don't have excess thread that I then have to trim off or worry about. So I really like this method. So now I am going to press towards the D fabric, which is the top left, and for our Phoenix colorway is the yellow. And so as I'm pressing these, I'm just going to stack them to the side because step 4 is pretty much a very similar step, just with different fabrics. And we'll be making 8 of them as well, so. and try to give them a good press as I'm going, so that way when the blocks get much larger, I'm not worrying so much. And you know what, for this, I forgot that I'm dividing it by 4. So for these, I'm just going to keep off camera, because if I'm only making the 2 blocks, if I divide it by 4, I'm only going to need 2 of these. So let me see, I got 1, 2. So these I'm just going to put off to the side. That way the video is not quite as long. That's why I never do all the blocks at the same time. Okay, so with step 4, we're going to do the same thing. You'll make 8 of them. So for myself, for the video, I'm going to make 2. The difference is this time we have C fabric and A fabric. So for the C, it is this orange. And that's going to be to the top left. And then our A fabric to the bottom right, which is our dark green fabric. I really love the hunter green color of this one. So same thing, I'm going to sew them both at the same time. If you are sewing 8, I would do like what I did in that previous step and sew all 8 at once. Okay, and for step 4, our arrow is pointing towards our A fabric. So I always like pressing from the back first to kind of set that seam, and I feel like it opens much better when I do that. Again, pressing from the back, and then opening these. Okay, so now we are on step 5. We need to take one of our step 3s, which is our DC fabric with our D in the top left, and attach it to our CA piece in step 4. So our orange fabrics should line up in the center here. Sorry, I'm just looking at them. And so we're going to put these right sides together and stitch across, making sure, sometimes I accidentally flip these around. So I'm definitely making sure that I'm sewing the correct side. Okay, and our arrow is pointing to the left. So I'm doing that where we have our DC fabric. Okay, so that's step 5. Okay, so now we're on step 6, which is going to be similar to steps 3 and 4, where we're making 8 of them. So I'm going to do 2. We need 2 of our A triangles, again with this deep green fabric. And 2 of our D, which is our yellow fabric. All right, I think I have right sides up. I'm trying not to worry about it too much, but I can't help it. All right, so you will be sewing 8 of these. I am sewing 2 for the block. And for both of these, we are pressing towards our A fabric, which is the green for our colorway, or the top left if you are sewing up a different colorway. What's nice is that because the instructions are the same for the large or the small, you could follow along with any ambassador that is doing the same size as you. I think most of us also say the fabric letters as well as the colors. Okay, so that is step 6. So now for step 7, I'm going to set one of these aside, and using what we just made with our AD fabric, I am going to attach an A square to the right. And that's one of our smaller A squares. And we'll just put them right sides together. And again, I'm taking my time to line them up and making sure that I am sewing the correct side. And then for this one, we are pressing it to the right, so towards that square, or the solid square, not the half squares, triangle. Okay, so step 8, we are going to take what we made in step 7, move that to the top, and then take our step 5. So this is the one here where we have our DC fabric on the left and our CA on the right. You'll know that you do it correctly because your D fabric here, in our case the yellow, will be lining up. So I'm going to put them right sides together, and I am going to clip. So what I'm doing is I am matching up those center seams, and if you have followed the pressing instructions, your seams should nest. So one should be going to the left and one should be going to the right. So I always clip that seam first. And then for this one, our seams are being pressed towards the top. So towards the side that has that solid A square in the top right. All right, and I clipped that center, and you can see that the point came out really, really nicely. I'm very happy with it. Okay, so I'm going to set that to the side. Okay, now we're on step 9. So we need our step 6, which has that right here, our A fabric and our D fabric. And with that is going to go to the left of step 3. Step 3 is up top where we had our DC fabric. Oh, wrong one. This one here, the DC fabric, which is our yellow and orange if you are using the Phoenix colorway. So you can tell that you have them correct. Oh, let me just rotate it. This is why I always double check. The A needs to be in the bottom left. And so then this is going to get rotated. So our C is to the top right. So now you know you have it correctly when your D fabric is lined up in the center and it's slanted to the left. This is why I like to film and not do a time lapse for at least one of the blocks, or not do them on the live, because I think it's important. Like right there, I could have made a mistake. So I think it's helpful to hear how I double check everything. I know that was something that I appreciated when I first started sewing, whether it was quilting, bag making. Sometimes things get edited out. So as long as it's not going to be something that is making you sew it incorrectly, I try to keep it in and explain my thinking. Okay, and so for this one, it is going to get pressed to the right. So gently opening that. Okay, set that to the side. So now for step 10, we need our AC block, which was our step 4 up here, AC, and making sure that it is facing the correct orientation. So my A is to the top right, my C is to the bottom left, and then now we're attaching an A square to the left of that. And I'm just double checking to make sure that it's lined up correctly. And again, taking my time lining up the sides. Up. Okay, and then this one will get pressed towards our left to that solid square. Okay, and step 11, we need to take our step 10, which we just did, move it up a little bit, and join our step 9. So we'll know that we did this one correctly because our A square is on the left, our C, which is our orange, should make that diagonal, and our D fabrics are already making that diagonal. So again, I am putting these right side together. I'm going to line up the center. So what I do is I kind of peel this back so I can see the seam and really make sure that it is nested. Sometimes if I'm not filming, I even like hold it closer to myself to make sure it is as accurate as possible. Okay, and again for this one here, our seams are being pressed up. So again, that's to that A square here. That's how I know I have it the right orientation. Again, I'm very happy with my center point. And now our last step, step 12, we're putting this all together. So our step 11, which is what we just did, because it has the A on the left, that is going to go on the right hand side. We need our step 2, which is our very first economy block in the center. And I want to make sure that I have my 2 B fabrics on the bottom and a C fabric to the left, a D fabric to the right. And then our step is a step 11, step 8. Yeah, step 8, sorry, to the left here. And I know that's correct because I have my A square. So basically my A squares are on the inside. I'm going to sew these one at a time. It doesn't matter if you start on the right or the left, but I am going to take the time to line up these centers. So I'm going to flip them right sides together and then turn it towards me. And so for this, I've peeled this back where I can see my seam. and make sure that seam is in the center as close to the center as possible, where these two small triangles are lined up. And our seam allowances, because it's here, there's not one pressing left or right. So that's why I'm just trying to match it to the center. We don't have nesting seams. So once I get that center, then again, I continue clipping. Okay, and so for these are being pressed to the left and the right of the economy block. So this is on the left-hand side, so I'm pressing these seams to the left. I mean to the right. Sorry. My brain today. I hope you guys can follow along okay. So they're being pressed to the outside. In this case, it is to the right. All right. And so that seam allowance is a little bit deep here. It's not quite a perfect point, but not enough where I want to take this apart or where I think it will be so noticeable once everything is put together. So now for this other side, I'm going to do the same thing and turn them so I can try to line them up. So this one I might take, I don't like doing a scant 1/4 inch because I find that I never can get them so accurate. But because there's a lot folded or clipped here, I believe that's why that point wasn't so sharp on the other side. So if you are having that trouble and you're using a full 1/4 inch for this, you might want to do it a little bit less to accommodate that fold. Okay. And so now this one is pressed to the left. And gently open this up. All right. So here we are. So this is our 4A block, and you should have 4 of these. So now we're moving on to our 4B block, and we only have 1 of them for this. So I am going to follow along here with however many it tells me, because I will need all of these. So I need 2 of my large A squares. And again, just kind of folding these back on itself. All right. And what's nice is that we are adding small B triangles to all 4 sides. So I'm actually going to combine step 1 and step 2 together, because I don't really have to worry about my fabrics getting moved around because all sides are the same. So in this instance, this is where I lay out all 4 pieces. And again, I'm just folding them back on itself. So if you sew with batiks, are you as meticulous as I am right now about trying to make sure that they are right sides facing up? All right. So now, because I'm doing 2 of the same blocks, I am going to start on the right-hand side. And if you really wanted, you could do step 3 and 4 at the same time and lay out all 3. Just because of space-wise, I'm going to do the 2. So I'm going to start top right. Again, that should, if you center it up, they should line up. You'll have the little points sticking over a tiny bit, but that will get hidden when we add the other sides. And again, I'm just chain stitching these. For me, it makes it go quicker. I'm using less thread. So it just feels more efficient. And then trimming through. And for these, they always get pressed to the outside. Right, so since I started with the top right, I'm going to continue with the bottom left. That's just because you always want to work opposites for these. I cut my thread too short on the last one and it came through. I'll see. Sometimes, I'm going to see how it goes. Sometimes when that happens, I have to rethread because the tension gets messed up. Yeah, I'm going to have to rethread this one. All right, so I just rethread. It should be okay. So we just finished up Wild West last month, and the new one is starting the end of this month, which is May 2025. So I'm super excited. I can't wait to find out what colorway I'll be assigned. I put in a request for 2 that are very different from ones that I have done before. Again, I'm just pressing these across. So every time I pick a colorway, I try to pick something I like, but something that is also different. That's also why I let Sean pick for me for Wild West, because that was fun. That was a surprise. So I really enjoy the full process of the Cotton Cuts quilts. So, and I feel like most colorways I really, really like. And I'm just continuing working around, lining these up. It's the same process that we did for our 4A block and actually for a lot of the other months as well. So I'm really excited to see this one come together. This is I want to say this is like my 6th Puzzle Mystery Quilt. Might be 5. I'd have to count exactly. But in my memory, we have not made this many economy blocks. So I'm really, really excited to see, and I can't wait to see the colorways that have more like pictures or whatnot, or prints, how it looks, especially with these center squares. So I think that's going to show off the fabric so nicely. All right, and so now our last one, our bottom. And I really love the batiks. The process, how they are made with the wax, I really think makes a huge difference in how they sew up. I'm not having any problem with things lining up. I also have had very, very few pieces actually get pushed down in my feed dogs. And normally I sew with a 70-10 needle, and I'm actually sewing with an 80-12 for these. And it's been working perfect. All right, and after I press this open, I'm going to set both of these to the side because we've made 2 of them. And this is both our steps 1 and 2. Okay, so now I'm going to do step 3 and 4 at the same time. So I need a large D square, which this one is our only one in this packet. And then I need 4 A small triangles. And I believe this is the only, this is the only E that we have in this one. So you'll know you did this correct because you're using up your only large D square and your only small E triangles. All right, and so I'm gonna work my way around this. And I probably could time lapse these. You can let me know if, like, because it's kind of the same process, if you prefer me to time lapse them, or if you like seeing me sewing them. I know I've had some people say that they do like how I do them because they just sew along with me and they can keep up. They don't have to constantly keep stopping the video. So I'm curious if what your opinion is. So definitely let me know in the comments. Okay, and so now I'm going to add to my opposite side. Because the small triangles are all the same, I'm not worried so much about making sure I grab from left, right, top, bottom. As long as I'm putting them right sides together, it's working out fine. You just have to be more mindful when it is different fabrics along the outside. And sometimes what I do too is I'll do it for the next one. I'll sew each side, the opposites, and then wait to press them until both are sewn. That can make it go a little bit quicker too. So what I mean by that is I'll trim this off and then sew this side and then wait to press them. All right, I'm just taking a second to make sure. I think that one I didn't have the correct, I had it going the wrong way. I found it's easier to tell on the lighter colors. So I was looking where that is a little bit lighter than the blue fabric. So now we'll press these both open. Okay, so that finishes up step 4. And so now we have step 5. Our step 4 is going to become our center, and then our step 2s are going to become our left and right. So kind of what I did with the last one, I am going to start on the right hand side, put them right sides together. And because they're the both same style block, I'm just trying to keep the point to the point lined up as best as I can. And clip them and then work my way out to the sides. I always clip the centers first because sometimes my seam allowance wobbles a little bit, and if that's the case, if you line up the top, your center might not be so aligned. So I'd rather have the edges be a little bit off my seam allowance, because then I can basically hide that in when I attach the blocks together in the other seam allowances when they get sewn together. All right, and so this one is going to be opposite of 4A in the sense that our seams are going to be pressed towards the center. So in this case, I'm pressing to the left. All right, and that point looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so now we're going to repeat the process with this left-hand side. So again, I'm just turning it towards me. I highly recommend doing that, and that way I can peel this back and line everything up. I can see much, much better when I do it that way. And you can see what I mean here. See, this is a little bit longer. I hope. Well, I guess we'll see if the center's lined up. Hopefully it is, and that's what I'm talking about. Where that edge, I'll be able to accommodate that in the seam allowance when I'm putting all the blocks together. And I notice that happens sometimes, like I said, because of my presser foot. Sometimes it tries to shift the fabric. A walking foot would probably help with that. All right, and so again, I want this pressed towards the center. So I'm going to press from the back and then gently open that. Yeah, so my center points are aligned, and that is the most important thing to me. And my bottom here is actually lined up. But again, you can see where this top is a little bit more. And so that just means when I attach this block in the final step, this one's a little bit higher here too. So I'll use this edge to match everything. So this is our 4B block, and you should have one of these. All right, so I've just finished up month 4. You should have 4 of section 4A if you are doing the large size, and 1 of 4B if you are also doing the large size. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. If you did, please consider subscribing or giving a thumbs up. It helps my channel grow. I appreciate it so much. And let me know in the comments if you are going to sign up for Under the Sea. Make sure to follow me on social media. As soon as I get my referral code, I will put it out there. And as soon as I know my colorway, I will also let you know. So enjoy, and I'll see you next month. Bye.